This is a brand new iPhone 15 and today we're gonna tear down this phone. But I mean, we're gonna fully tear this down. We're gonna get to the motherboard and split the sandwich. These newer iPhones are designed like this, where it's a motherboard that's stacked together, and we're gonna go inside this motherboard. We're gonna split it using my buddy right here. This is a sandwich heater, and we're gonna split the sandwich and see how this phone compares to last year's model, the iPhone 14. So before we get started, do me a huge favor, make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel. Check out the links down below, like if you want to get a t-shirt like this. This will support my channel and help fund buying more devices like this that I destroy. So let's go ahead and get started with this video. So I'm just going to interrupt the video really quick and let you guys know that there was an issue with the video recording. So I'm currently, the next day, I was getting ready to edit the video and everything, and then towards the end, when I was actually about to split this iPhone 15, the video messes up. It's super choppy. There's like one frame every 5 seconds and it's just unwatchable. It's unusable. So there's no footage of me actually splitting the sandwich. There is footage of everything else. So me opening this phone and tearing it down and, you know, inspecting, even comparing it to the iPhone 14 and everything. But literally, as I put it on the heater to start the process, it messes up. So what I'm gonna do in this video is at that portion of the video, I'm gonna cut in and show you guys an iPhone 14 instead. I wanna show you guys the technique of splitting this sandwich, and because it is very similar to the iPhone 15. And you know, once you get to that part of the video, you'll see I do compare the boards, and you'll see it's pretty much the same design. It's different but similar. So the technique still applies. And I also talked to DIY Fix Tool, who's gonna send me the heat plate for the iPhone 15, the reballing stencils, and then I'm also gonna try to source a donor board so I could at least show you guys on an iPhone 15 how to split a factory, you know, untouched motherboard. But it's pretty much gonna be the same as the iPhone 14. So, you know, like this phone I bought out of pocket, you know, full price on launch day, and I fully intended to make a video on that process, and it didn't work out as expected. So I appreciate you guys if you still watch the video. There's a lot of good info as far as tearing down this phone and just the design overall. So I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's get back to the video. So like I said, this is a brand new phone. I haven't opened it. So one way to know if you have a real iPhone is use a UV light. There's a QR code and the word iPhone. The bottom does not appear to have one. But yeah, this is a brand new phone. This is the pink version. And then here it is. Oh wow, this is actually really like light pink. It's like a frost color. I don't know, what do you guys think? All right, here you go. Now this is the iPhone 15. It does have the USB-C port. So inside does come with the cable like the 15 Pro Max, the video I did, and all that's gonna be the same. That's the boring stuff. So let's go ahead and first test it out, make sure it works. So using my 45-watt charger, let's plug it in to charge, and here is the charging. So it actually does 9 volts, and let's see how much charging current it goes up to. Now on my Samsung S22 Ultra, we get up to 45-watt charging. This one looks like it will, currently at 15. I did see it hit almost 20 watts, but it looks like it didn't sustain it. Now it does have a slightly full battery. It's probably, doesn't say, but it does look like it's maybe like 70%. So that could be why it's not fully charging. So let me set this up really quick. All right, so now we're into the phone, and pretty much everything will be working. So Wi-Fi is there, Bluetooth, cellular, and the camera works, selfie cam works. So yeah, it should be a fully functional phone. Like I said, it's brand new. I do feel the edges does feel a lot nicer than the 14. Now one of the first things I like to do on these phones is change the battery percentage to show on the top, and yeah, sure enough, it is at 79. All right, so let's get inside. All right, so in order to get inside this phone, we gotta heat it up, and this opens up both from the front and the back, but the back gives you the most access to everything you need to access. And I'm gonna see if I could get the motherboard out without taking out the screen. I'm pretty sure I can do it. I haven't fully done it on a phone yet, but I'm pretty sure if the design is the same as the 14. So let's take out the bottom pentalobe screws. And essentially what we gotta do is lift up the back glass. And I have my heat, I actually have it set to 70, but this pad does tend to overshoot and then it'll come back. So just something to keep in mind. Also, I will link to all the tools in today's video in the video description below. So if you want to be able to open up your own phone, follow along. Now I don't recommend it if you're never done anything like this before. Bring it to a professional to open up. So one of the first things I like to do is put isopropyl alcohol along the edges. Most important is the bottom side, because that's where we're going to enter our tool. And this is the tool I use. It's literally called Tool, T-U-U-L. If you pronounce that out loud, it's Tool. It's a flat blade. Now it could be thinner, but this is good enough. You could also use sandpaper to thin it out, but I use it as is. And we use a suction cup to suction to the back glass to pull up, and essentially with the suction, with the force pulling upwards and with the tool entering, we're able to start separating the back glass. So this one actually looks like it just entered pretty easy. You go straight down and then you pull up and you tilt your tool down, kind of like a lever. And you want to be gentle, don't use any force. So now you can see my tool is entering a little bit. And after I get my metal tool partially in, I do like to swap it out for a plastic tool so I don't cause any damage. It is a lot easier to break the glass when you're using metal tools, but metal tools are way stronger when you want to get that first initial entry point. So now that we got partially in, ISO, and just like horizontal. Just be careful though, there's flexes in here, so you don't want to damage anything. Yeah, heat, ISO, and slicing action with a flat tool like this. This is, I forget the name. Oh, iPlastics. I got this from Mobile Centrics, as you can see, but pretty much a lot of vendors sell them. I'm sure you can find it on eBay or Amazon. Now I don't know where everything is on this model, so I do have to be careful. You don't want to insert your tool, like you can see, I'm pretty much just going this far in. The goal is to lift it up. Oh, so I'm already getting a large gap on the side. The bigger the gap gets, the easier it gets. So it's just that first initial entry point that gets really difficult. Now you can also use plastic tools to kind of keep it open. That way it doesn't keep closing. So like these iFixit guitar pick type tools. And then just keep soaking with ISO. Now I do know the board is on this side and there are some flexes here, so be careful. At least on the iPhone 14, this is the 15, but from what I've seen, it's pretty much the same design. So I'm hoping my other tools for the 14 will work on this 15. I do recommend also you wear gloves. It does help with the heat. So this is burning hot, but it does give you that millimeter worth of separation from the direct heat. Does make a difference as far as burning your hands, although it's not perfect. Let's see. There you go. Now I am going to turn this off, and I like to use scissors to snip off any adhesive that is holding. I think that was the only piece. And there you go. We're inside the iPhone 15. At least the first stage of this. We have a few more stages to get to. But from what I can see, it looks identical to the iPhone 14 as far as the board and the layout here. So let's do some more teardowns. Now, this is the flex I was saying to be careful. If you do damage this flex, you're very likely to have 3-minute restarts because the flash is not detected, or the mic up here. I don't know what sensor it is. Most likely the mic. For whatever reason, Apple wants the mic to always be working. Make your own conclusion from that. You know, maybe they just always want Siri to work, you know, who knows. So let's see, let me tear this down. It's actually not that difficult to tear down the iPhone 14 to get the board out. So let's see how this one is. I do see one thing has changed. Well, that's weird. There it goes. So one thing I noticed is this shield here has a little bracket here that goes under, and then on the other side it hooks under here. So I got confused for a bit because I wasn't sure which way that goes. There it goes. So these back glass, at least for the 14, you can buy them from Apple directly. So if you want to get a new back glass, you can even technically get the different color. Although I don't know, does Apple check for, make sure color matches? Who knows? But yeah, let's get that out of the way. Yeah, so this shield is definitely different. I think that's pretty much it. So now let's unplug everything else. The battery. Which one's the battery? I think it must be this one. Now before I unplug anything else, I do want to check something really quick. That is with the DC power supply using the iPhone 13 cable. Does this still use the same iPhone 13 plug? Now the iPhone 14 still uses the same as the 13. This is an iPhone 13 DC power supply cable. And let me see. Actually, I don't think so. It doesn't seem to click in. So let's do this. Let's go under the microscope and inspect. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the cable connector next to the battery connector and see if there's any difference. Yeah, look at that. It's actually, the 13 connector is much larger. Not much larger, but it is larger. It's a little longer. Hope I didn't damage the connector. Let me see, maybe they changed it to the 12. All right, this is an iPhone 12 DC power supply cable. It's kinda matches. Let's try it. Yeah, that clicked in. So look at that, new discovery. The 15, I'm pretty sure I had to use a 13 cables. So for whatever reason, they swapped the cables. So we go back over here. So the iPhone 12 cable. Now, did they change the polarity? Now, I do know, at least on 14, if you plug it in this way, it'll be short, it'll be backwards. Yeah, still the same. The DT880 black out, so that means it's a short. Now let's plug it in this way. And look at that. And then we can prompt to boot with the power button and check the consumption. Although this board is hot, so it's probably gonna, yeah, see it's booting up. Now I wonder if it'll fully boot on the DT80. I know on other models, for sure the 14 Pro Max does not boot on here. It gets to the home screen and cuts off, and I don't know why. Yeah, see it does that. So yeah, that's normal. I haven't figured out a solution for that, but at least you can check the boot up consumption using the iPhone 12 plug. Interesting. All right, let's tear this down further, and essentially you just got to unplug everything. It's a lot of flexes here. Now the interesting part, this is now dynamic island, so the cameras are different. You can actually see it's a smaller module compared to last year's, the 14. I think that's it. Now we got to remove the standoff screws. There's there's actually 5. One is hidden. Assuming they didn't change anything. So you got to remove this top screw here. Oh, wrong screwdriver. This top screw here. Right at the very top. Take off that screw and then bend this little antenna out of the way. Let me check under the scope. So we're gonna go, looks like, I'm pretty sure it wasn't like that before, like this bracket here. This appears to be the speaker. I hope we don't have to, yeah, we can't get to that standoff screw which is holding the board. See this metal piece right here? It grabs onto the board. So we gotta move this bracket to get to that screw, to unscrew that to get the board out. Other than that, everything else seems the same. Yep. So we got to get to that, which means we have to take out the speaker, which is not going to be fun because now we have a huge mixture of screws to get to. So hopefully I don't forget how they are all laid out. I think there's this screw here as well. Yeah, there's one more screw right here. And yeah, this is out. So that wasn't too bad. Go back to the standoff screw, which I'll put up here. Now we didn't have to remove the screen because what we can do is kind of gently fold this over. Now we can access these screws here, which are tri-wing. So this is the proximity flex. And then there's a little bracket in here. The bracket's a little annoying. And then you could pop off that flex. And then the screen. And then the bracket. There we go. Board is out. That's the iPhone 15, the base model, non-pro, and a USB-C. Essentially what they did is just put a new port and reuse the same design as last year. Now let's compare this to the iPhone 14. So this is the 14 here and 15. They're very similar as far as everything I can tell. Now, next step is to get inside. So this motherboard is a sandwich. There's 2 layers, and this is what it looks like inside on a 14. Essentially, we got to remove this top layer, and then inside the sandwich is a CPU, a few other chips, and then on this top board is a baseband, the Wi-Fi. Majority of the connectors are up here. So the interesting part is you can have no power issues when you have a sandwich issue. Also, I've had a few that were restarting because the wireless flex, the back glass flex, or whatever you want to call this, the connector that this plugs into had a disconnection within the layers. So it plugs in here, but we had an OL, open line. So this flex couldn't talk to the CPU. The signal wouldn't make it because there was disconnections between the side where the connector's at to get into the CPU. So I'm sure this one's gonna have the same issue. You know, with the hard enough drop, you're gonna start having all kinds of problems. So let's take a look at this under the microscope. And essentially what we wanna do is, I like to do first is remove all these foam stickers around the connectors because we're gonna use a lot of heat to get inside. So let's pull them off. I'm assuming they're for water resistance. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments. How many iPhone 14s have you worked on? And how did they go? Did you have any issues? Have you found working on sandwich boards in general is difficult? What problems do you struggle with when it comes to working on a sandwich board? Now look at that. This is a phantom connector. It's probably where the JTAG goes. So essentially when Apple's doing design and troubleshooting and debugging, there's a special connector they can plug in to talk to the phone, as far as I understand. And then let's pull this off. Now this is the NAND. This is the storage chip. This is, some people call it the hard disk. Oh, look at this. There's a thermal copper tape here. Now on the sides, we should also take these off because if we're going to split this, we don't want anything holding it. So ideally you want to get it in one piece so you can peel it off. All right. This side has none, the top side has none. Oh, there's some right here. Usually there's no sticker here, so this is new. I don't think the 14 has this. There it goes. We're stripping this phone to its skeleton, basically. All right, so in here is going to be the PMIC. Some people call it the power IC. Essentially is the power management chip. So the battery power is coming into this chip, and this chip converts it down to all the different other voltages. So like, 3 volts, 1.8 volts, 0.9 volts, whatever gets converted from this chip. So that goes there. This is the display connector. This is the proximity connector. And on the back side, we have all the other connectors, the cameras, the antennas, the wireless charging, the battery connector here. So yeah, this is what it looks like. There's going to be some more. I'm pretty sure in here is like baseband type of chips. Let's peel this off and take a look. Now I'm not going to remove the shields. Although, let me know down in the comments if in future teardowns you want me to remove these shields. These are typically pretty difficult to remove, so I also don't want to make a super long video. Yeah, this is as far as most technicians will go, but I'm gonna go a step further. We're gonna go inside of this motherboard. So this is a special heater designed for iPhone sandwiches, and this is for the 14 and 14 Pro series. But because the motherboard is very similar, let's see if this fits. Oh, is it gonna fit? It is not. Oh wow. Or maybe I misaligned it. Oh wow, look at that. They changed it just so slightly. So I cannot get this to sit flat. Now if I grab a 14, oh weird. So let's take a look at the differences. So the top one is the 14. Now side by side, they look very similar. Partially the connector is slightly different. This area kind of looks the same. The top side looks the same, but they don't match exactly. So if we line up these screw holes right here, and then we leave it like that, and we go here, you can see the mismatch. So the new one, the 15, is slightly shorter, whereas if I line this one up, the screw holes, and let's see if I could move it over. Now these don't line up. So yeah, this is going to be a slightly different board design, which sucks, because now, this is the 15, right? Now I can't easily split the sandwich. I'm still going to do it, but it won't be easy. So either I line up the bottom ones or I line up the top one. Well, actually even the top one doesn't work good. I guess we'll just go for it. All right, so in order to split the iPhone 15, what I did was I used 210 degrees Celsius on this T20 I2C heater, but this board does not fit properly. So what I did is I fit the bottom one and the top was elevated, and I used hot air to basically do the exact same technique I'm gonna do on the iPhone 14. So this board is pretty much like a millimeter different than this one, so it doesn't fit in the jig. But like I said in the beginning of the video, I do have the right heater plate coming, so I'll have that maybe next week. So this is a donor board of an iPhone 14, and what we're gonna do is split it like I would any other 14, and the technique is the same as the 15. Essentially, we have the CPU on the bottom and we have this thin plate on the top like this. So what we're gonna do is separate the top, and we gotta be careful with the CPU on the bottom. If the CPU gets too much heat, it will float and not power on. So that's what we're gonna try to do. We're gonna use hot air on the top, and then the heater is gonna heat from the bottom. So both of them combined will give us the results we want. So what I do is inject flux into the sides. You know, we're already reaching temperature, so here's what I do. I inject flux. Now I'm gonna go under my microscope. Hopefully this video doesn't mess up, because that is very unfortunate situation. So essentially feed it flux. I could understand if you don't want to watch this video because it's technically not a 15, but I'm telling you guys it's the exact same thing. And I will show you the 15 insides here in a second once we split this one, but I do want to show you that process. So once we got flux everywhere, this thing is up to temp, is at 210 Celsius. I'm gonna use a flat spatula tool to enter the sides like that. Right, let me see, can you guys see? Right, so, and we're gonna work our way around the edges. But first we gotta apply some heat. So I'm gonna use 380 Celsius, 50% air. And essentially, I'm gonna peel these off. All right, so I just peeled these off really quick, and what we're gonna do is just heat. And we're gonna go in big circles and find the entry point for your flat tool. On both 14 and 15, there's like a giant, oh, there it goes. My tool enters, there's a lot of pads here. You can see a solder ball there. I will go on this side, same thing. And what I'm gonna do is wiggle my tools, see if the board separates. And I can see my tool is entering, so I just keep changing sections. All right, so this process is, you know, a new technique. I generally don't use hot air to split a sandwich until now, because you don't want to put too much heat on the bottom board, and this has high temp solder. So we got to use hot air from the top to melt the pads, sandwich pads, without damaging the CPU. And I just want to enter my tool just that much. We don't want to insert too much. Just enough to kind of wiggle. I could feel it entering very easily, so that's when you know you can move a little further down. You just got to keep your hot air moving. You don't want to concentrate it in one spot. You also don't want to enter at the top and kind of lift up the whole thing. You don't want to bend the board, right? Because if you bend up here and then the other half is still soldered on, then you know one side is being pulled down while this top side is being pulled up, and then that's how you get a bent board, especially with the high heat we're using to get in here. I know how to move that thing there. So yeah, just keep going in circles. Now this part of the board is weird. There's like this part that like hangs over the bottom board. So just keep that in mind. And then we're just being real gentle. And like I said, I'm using 210. Now keep in mind, 210 works for my heater. It might not work for yours, so your temperatures may vary. Don't assume you just use the exact same temperature as everyone else. You do have to experiment a little bit. And splitting the 15 did take just as long. It's a really long board and it's hard to heat up the whole thing. Technically, we can take out the nozzle so it spreads the heat more, but I'm really lazy in regards to that. Also, there's no way to hold the board down, the bottom board. There's no like lip that you could put a little finger on to hold it down, so you do have to keep that in mind. Alright, let's go up here. I wish there was like a little, just like the guitar picks I was using to keep the back glass separated while I was working on the rest of the back glass. I wish there was like a little metal shims or something I could kind of keep in here to keep it separated. So yeah, we're just basically going at it. Now I do feel this side has opened up. Oh, there it goes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab it from the screw hole right here. Oh man, I can't enter. And then flip it over. Oh, it almost got caught on my heater. And there we go. We're inside. No rip pads. There's like a solder ball that squeezed out from my tool in here, but that's neither here nor there. We turn on the fan and just inspect the board for anything. You know, inspect for any CPU solder balls, and there are none, so that's good. I never had any issues with 210. Oh, there's like a little bit. There's a little solder ball here. So maybe 210 might be too hot. Maybe 200 would be good. Although this donor board is already dead, so I won't know for sure. Now, if you guys want to donate so I could afford another iPhone 15 to split for reals and not I'll make sure the OBS isn't messing up. I'll record it again. But yeah, so this is the iPhone 14. Now let's take a look at the iPhone 15 from the inside. Pay attention to this sections, right? So this is the 14. Let me put this to the side. This is still the 14. This is the underside of the 14. I mean the top board. All right. Here's what it looks like. Then here's the 15. So far what I see is this and this, all this up to here is pretty much the same. They added this extra bridge here, whereas it didn't on the 14. So you can see how this part has been added in. It's like literally a bridge. Like there's two here, there's a third one here. I wonder if they added this for stability or strength. I don't know if they saw a lot of issues with the 14 where maybe it was like causing problems. right? So on the 15, there's a bridge here that is not on the 14. And this is the A16. This is a CPU from the 14 Pro Max, 14 Pro and Pro Max from last year. But pretty much everything else in here is very similar. And this one also has, all the ground pads here. I've already technically prepped the pads, so it'll be easier to reball when I get to that video, which will be posted soon. But yeah, this is the bottom board of the iPhone 15. This looks like, what is this? USI. It's very similar to the Wi-Fi chip, USI as well. So that's interesting. There are two Wi-Fi chips. Maybe one Wi-Fi, one Bluetooth now. So yeah, that's the iPhone 15. The CPU, some RF chips. This chip, SD0, S2D052. Does a 14 have that? Yeah, S2D0, S24. Yeah, the exact same chip and the same kind of layout. It's funny. You can see these caps here to change, caps and resistors, but pretty much everything else different. These. So this is the 15. This is the 14. The bottom is 15. So you can see they added a few more chips down here compared to this one. This kind of looks all the same. This kind of looks like the same chip. This is the same. This looks like NFC. Huh. Yeah, I don't know what that chip would be doing compared to this one. But it's very similar. This chip is missing on this one. Speaker amp. So there you go. That's the bottom board. And now the top board. What you're gonna find is some speaker amp chips here, some bunch of RF chips. And this is baseband CPU. So one thing you'll notice is SDX70. Starting from iPhone 12s, I know those are SDX55, and then 13s are 60, and then 14s are 65. Now 15s is 70. But on the iPhone 15 Pro Max teardown, you'll notice I saw the PMU said PMX 65, which is the same as the 13, but for some reason this one has 70. So it seems to be like a mismatch as far as the base model and the Pro models. They maybe they couldn't get the new Qualcomm chip to work on the 15 Pros. So they just kept the same as the 14s. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much kind of the chips here on this board. This is the Wi-Fi, the 5G. And then if you compare it to this one, this is the iPhone 14. You'll see, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is SDX 65. Right, so basically each generation is increasing by 5, and for whatever reason they reuse the same 65 on the Pro Max. So yeah, that's pretty much it for these sandwich boards. Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna try to source an actual 15 donor board so I can show you the actual technique. So I do apologize about that once again. If you guys want to donate to help fund me buying another 15, let me know. you know, you can subscribe to the channel, share this video. You know, like I said, I paid out of pocket for these, and you know, hoping to make that money back with, you know, the revenue from this video, but I don't know if that's gonna work out this time. But let me know what you guys thought about the video, what you guys learned today, what you guys found helpful as far as the teardown. The process was very simple, in my opinion. As long as you know all the steps, it's actually not that difficult to get the board out of the housing. You know, even without removing the screen, you just gotta get a little, not creative, but you just gotta be mindful of how the flexes are laid out, and then you can easily get the board out. I do love that these 14s and 15s do not have that 5G flex soldered on, so it makes it really easy to work on. That's a huge plus for me. Let me know what else you guys want to learn about the iPhone 15s or 15 Pro Max. You know, I still got these boards ready to experiment, so we can, you know, learn some new things. So in the future, once these starts coming in for repairs, we have some more information. So let me know if you guys want download readings, if you want, I don't know, voltage tests or something. I don't know, what else can we get from these? Oh, one thing I do want to do is test which parts cause restarts and what are the panic logs associated with each one. So let me know down below in the comments what you want to see in future videos. Reball video is coming soon. If you guys want me to reball this CPU, then maybe I'll do that too if I get enough comments requesting that. Now, one easy way you guys can support the channel is to buy a t-shirt like the one I'm wearing right now. Another way is to subscribe to my locals community. I do post exclusive content there. I will post a story about what happened here. Maybe I'll even share the video that I did record that is super choppy, but maybe you guys want to see it. I'll post it there for only subscribers. So appreciate all you guys who stuck around here to the end. You know, it's very unfortunate. I hope you guys at least got something out of this video. I can't believe this happened, but here we are. I guess lesson learned. I'll have to figure out what happened with OBS, fix my settings, and make sure it doesn't happen in a future video. So check out all the links down below in the video description. I will also link to the 15 Pro Max teardown video. It'll show up somewhere around here on the screen. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.